Welcome everyone to a new episode of Alex Exploring. I'm Alex, and today we are exploring Medina County in Northeast Ohio. Our first stop here is in Seville, Ohio. So let's get started. We are right across the street from the Seville Historical Society. So let's get to the historical marker and read what it's all about. This marker is number 152, titled The Giants of Seville. Seville's most famous resident, Captain Martin Van Buren Bates, lived from 1845 to 1919, and Anna Swan Bates, who died in 1889, settled here in 1873. Their notoriety stemmed from their dramatic stature. Martin, a former Confederate soldier from Kentucky, stood 7 feet 8 inches tall. Anna, a would-be teacher from Nova Scotia, stood 7 and 11 and a half inches tall. They met on the carnival circuit in New Jersey in 1871 and wedded in England the same year in a ceremony orchestrated by Queen Victoria. Returning to America, Captain and Mrs. Bates bought a farm at the edge of Seville, built and furnished a house which was raised in 1948, proportioned for their comfort, and retired to a small town agricultural life. Martin raised blooded stock and draft horses. Anna entertained the taught Sunday school. In 1879, Anna gave birth to a child who weighed a record 23 and 3/4 pounds, but lived only 11 hours. The Bateses and their child are interred in nearby Mound Hill Cemetery. Seville continues to celebrate their symbolic larger-than-life neighbors. So that's an interesting marker there. Let's head on over to our next stop. We have made it to our next Ohio historical marker here in Medina County. We are at Skypark. This has got way better lighting. Skypark, the flying community. Daniel E. Weldson, pilot and hometown son, dreamed of a flying community, one where every family would have a plane in their garage for work or play. In June 1965, the Williams Farm on Acme Hill became a runway with taxiways to every home. Young men and women came for flying lessons and now traverse the world in space, the military, and commercially. Surviving fire, tornadoes, and earthquake, Ohio winters, and severe crosswinds, students still come here to take their first flight and become pilots. In Ohio, birthplace of aviation pioneers, this is Skypark, the flying community. A first in Ohio because a man dared to dream. And that's the runway right there. Heads into the community. And this is a tribute to people who have served their country that are friends of Skypark. Let's head on to our next stop here in Medina County. We find ourselves now in Wadsworth, Ohio. Busy little town here in the eastern part of Medina County. And this yellow house is what we will be looking at. The Wadsworth Historical Society Museum is home to number 1152 Johnson House Museum. The Johnson House was built in 1852 and its first owner was Henry J. Traver, owner of Traver and Company Carriage Factory across the street. From 1877 until 1994, the house was the residence and office of four doctors who maintained their practices there. First was Daniel Kranz, followed by Dr. Thomas Ritter. In 1900, Dr. Robert Johnson purchased the house. His daughter, Dr. Mira Johnson, took over the practice after he died and converted it into a museum. It is operated by the Wadsworth Area Historical Society and owned by the city of Wadsworth. And the carriage factory is on the back side. A carriage manufacturing business was located across the street from the Johnson House and is believed to have been established around 1838. Eventually acquired by Henry J. Traver, the business continued under various names and owners as Traver and Company, Stevenson, Browning and Steele, and R. Stevenson and Company. The firm's office was the location of Wadsworth's first election on April 4th, 1866, during which Aaron Pardee was elected the first mayor. In 1875, the carriage maker was thought to employ approximately 20 people. In the 1890s, it occupied about 7,000 square feet of floor space. Automobiles began to replace horse-drawn vehicles early in the 20th century, and the carriage business was closed in 1915. So there you go. That is the Johnson House here in Wadsworth. Let's go ahead and head back to our car and make it to our next stop. We are now in Litchfield, Ohio, where we are finding our next historical marker in this park that is surrounded by a roundabout, which is very unique. There's this gazebo here right in the middle of the roundabout, as well as our next Ohio historical marker. Number 852, titled Litchfield Town Band. Around 1900, the newly formed Litchfield Cemetery and Park Association needed a band to lead processions to and from the town cemetery on Memorial Day. The Litchfield Town Band was born. Uriel Crow served as its first director, so the group was sometimes known as the Crow Band. Although there were periods when the band was inactive, it has been a community institution for more than a century. The group plays a broad repertoire of standards and marches by John Philip Sousa at Memorial Day and other commemorations, ice cream socials, and various community events. Directors have included Uriel Crow, Lauren Hayes, Floyd Coons, Raymond Bradley, Hal Leach, Kenneth Bradley, and Cynthia Bennett. Let's take a look at the back side. It's the same on both sides, so let's take a photo and head to our next stop. So I'm here on the inside, on the outside of the roundabout, but this will be our last historical marker for this video. We're going to have a part 2 for Medina County, so make sure to stay tuned for that video and in the coming future, and make sure to go explore history. It's so nice out in Ohio now, in the thick of spring. I'm Alex from Alex Exploring, and peace out. See you next time.